if I told you that one of Rugby League's fastest rising stars has just committed his future to the Brisbane Broncos, but that this move might be about more than just securing talent? What if this extension hides a bigger story, one that could shape the future of the club, the NRL, and even state of origin? Stick around, because this isn't just another contract signing. This is the tale of a young prospect whose name could soon echo through Suncorp Stadium, and whose signature might be the spark that lights a dynasty. Before we dive in, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe if you love hard-hitting NRL updates, and ring the bell so you don't miss a single breaking story. Now, let's get into it. The Brisbane Broncos have extended the contract of their young wing prospect, a player who has been compared to some of the greats despite only having a handful of first-grade appearances. For the Broncos, who have been on a rollercoaster of highs and crushing lows in recent seasons, this deal isn't just about depth, it's about belief. The club has been desperate to lock in youthful energy, especially after losing key players in recent years to rival NRL outfits and even rugby union. For the Broncos faithful, every new extension feels like a piece of the puzzle, a reminder that the next great dynasty could be on the horizon. But why does this signing matter so much? Why now? Let's rewind the clock. This young winger's journey didn't begin in the bright lights of Suncorp. It began on dusty suburban fields, where speed, determination, and raw skill caught the eyes of scouts. His breakout moment came during a junior representative carnival, where he scored tries from impossible angles and showed the kind of pace that makes coaches lean forward and whisper, "That's the one." By the time he was 18, whispers about his potential had already spread through Queensland Rugby League circles. Fans who'd been watching the Broncos stumble in recent years were desperate for someone to believe in. And this kid, this flying machine on the wing, seemed to be the answer. Still, not every prodigy makes it. Injuries, off-field distractions, the sheer brutality of professional footy, all of it can swallow a career before it even begins. And yet, this prospect kept pushing, training harder, running faster, never shying away from the big moments. Here's where it gets interesting. The Broncos didn't just extend his contract because of what is already shown, they extended it because of what they believe he will become. Think about that. A club placing a bet on potential, staking part of its future on a player who is still finding his feet at the NRL level. And that gamble carries risk. Fans know it. Pundits know it. Even rival clubs know it. But the Broncos have doubled down, and it signals something bigger. A strategy to build a squad not just of established stars like Reece Walsh and Payne Haas, but of hungry youngsters who could dominate the competition. 4 years to come. But what does this mean for the rest of the NRL? And more importantly, what hidden story lies behind this signing? Here's a cliffhanger for you. This extension didn't happen in a vacuum. Rival clubs were circling. Rumours say at least 2 Sydney-based heavyweights had their eyes on poaching this prospect, dangling the promise of big-money contracts and fast-tracked first-grade opportunities. Imagine the headlines if he'd walked. Broncos lose another star of the future. The fan backlash would have been brutal. The pressure on coach Kevin Walters and the board would have skyrocketed. But instead, Brisbane held firm. They locked him in. And in doing so, they sent a warning shot across the bow of the entire league. Hands off. This is our future. But this isn't just about boardroom strategy or fan morale. Inside the Broncos locker room, this extension has ripple effects. Veteran players see the hunger of the next generation. Other young guns see that the club is willing to back its own. It creates culture. A sense that if you bleed maroon and gold, the club will reward you. One senior player reportedly said, "This is the kind of signing that makes the rest of us sit up straight." It reminds us the Broncos are serious about building for the future. But here's where things take a twist. With every young signing comes expectation. Pressure. The weight of a city that lives and breathes rugby league. Can this young winger carry it? Or will the spotlight burn too bright? Queensland has always loved its wingers. Think of legends like Lote Tuqiri, Darius Boyd, and Valentine Holmes in his prime. Every kid who pulls on a Maroons jersey dreams of hearing the roar at Suncorp on Origin night. And now, with this extension, the whispers have already begun. Could this youngster be a future state of Origin star? Too soon. Maybe. But if his trajectory continues, it's not just possible, it's likely. But let me throw another cliffhanger your way. What if his rise sparks tension inside the Broncos squad? What if competition for spots becomes so fierce that teammates become rivals? For Broncos fans, this extension has been a shot of adrenaline. Social media lit up within minutes of the announcement. Some fans called it a masterstroke, others warned about the dangers of overhyping a prospect. And that's the balancing act, isn't it? Belief versus reality. Potential versus proven performance. Every fan wants a new hero, but heroes aren't made in headlines. They're made in finals footy, when the game is on the line. And hey, quick reminder, you're watching Aussie NRL Updates, the place where we break down the biggest stories in rugby league, from blockbuster signings to shocking injuries and everything in between. If you're loving this deep dive, stick with us, because the second half of this story is about to get even juicier. For every young star who rises, there are others who stumble under pressure. The NRL is littered with stories of next big things who never fulfilled their promise. Could this signing, as exciting as it is, also be a gamble that backfires? One thing's for sure, the media won't give him breathing room. Every mistake will be scrutinized. Every missed tackle, every dropped ball, will make headlines. And in Brisbane, where the spotlight is relentless, that can be suffocating. So where does this leave us? The Broncos have doubled down on youth. They've sent a message to the competition. But the real story, the one that will define this signing, hasn't even been written yet. Will this young winger rise to the challenge, electrify the NRL, and cement himself as a Broncos legend? Or will he struggle under the pressure, leaving fans asking what could have been? Stay tuned, because in Part 2, we are diving into the bigger picture, what this signing means for the Broncos' long-term plan, how it could reshape their premiership window, and whether this youngster could become the face of the franchise. Because here's the truth, this contract extension isn't just about one player. It's about a movement, a new era in Brisbane. But with every new era comes danger. And not everyone will survive it. You thought this was just a simple signing? Think again. The extension of this young Broncos winger could be the domino that topples or transforms the entire NRL landscape. Buckle up, because the second half of this story is where the real twists begin. Every great club talks about the window. That sweet spot when talent, experience, and momentum collide. For Brisbane, the window is wide open, but only just. With stars like Reece Walsh dazzling in attack, Payne Haas dominating the middle, and Adam Reynolds providing leadership, the Broncos are in prime position. But windows close fast in the NRL. Injuries, salary cap squeeze, rival poaching, it can all come crashing down in an instant. This is why the extension matters. It's not just about today, it's about extending that window, injecting youth so the premiership dream doesn't fade with the retirement of veterans. Let's be real, every contract has a number attached. And in the NRL, where the salary cap rules all, signing one player always affects another. So here's the burning question, who might the Broncos lose to make room for this deal? Clubs rarely reveal the full truth about money, but whispers suggest the Broncos had to fend off aggressive offers from rivals. To keep him, they had to promise not just opportunity, but loyalty. Could this mean tough calls down the line? Could a fan favourite be squeezed out to balance the books? Here's a twist you didn't see coming. Behind the scenes, Rugby Union has been sniffing around. With Australian rugby desperate to lure league stars, this young winger was on their radar. The Broncos' extension is not just a win for the NRL, but a defensive play against Union. And it's not the first time. Remember Joseph Swali's defection to the Wallabies? That stung.